Hello, welcome to the channel. After my basket make for the vintage collaboration this month, some people said that they would like to see the creation of the basket itself, so this is that video. First of all, here are the tools that you will need. Like I mentioned in the video, it's really quick and really easy and you don't need many tools. So I've got some wet glue, scissors, pencil, ruler and a double-sided piece of paper, or this heavyweight paper or cardstock. You don't want it too flimsy because otherwise your basket won't hold, but you don't want it too thick because it will be hard to crease. And you might find it helpful to have an embossing tool and a bone folder. First of all, I'm going to cut this sheet of card or paper stock down to 18 centimeters. Now obviously you can do it bigger, that's just the exact same size that I used for the basket for the collaboration. The only thing I would say is you need to be able to divide it into 3 sections across and down as well. So you need to bear that in mind when you're thinking about the size of it, because obviously it's easier to divide certain numbers by 3 than it is others. I want this to be the outside of my basket, so I'm going to mark my measurements on the back here. So I'm just marking that at 18 along the top there, and then also along this side as well. And then I'm going to trim this with my trimmer just because it's easier. If you are confident enough to draw a straight line and cut it with scissors, obviously that's fine. For me it's just easier with the trimmer, and if you have a trimmer I would suggest that that's probably the easiest way to do it. I now have 3 pieces, my 18 by 18 plus these 2 strips that I've obviously cut off the sides, and you need to keep these for the handle and some other bits and pieces, so it is worth using a bigger piece of paper and trimming it down, but you could obviously use another bit of paper in the same pattern, or you could have something entirely different. It's up to you. Next I need to mark my paper into the 3 sections across the bottom. So I've got that lined up with the edge, so I'm marking it obviously at 6 and 12. We have our 2 sections now, and then I'm going to mark along the bottom and the top of here to give us our 9 squares. We now have our 9 squares on the back, and these bottom ones need to be marked again into 3 strips. So I'm going to do that at 2 and 4. So now we have the 3 sections on each of those corners, and I'm just going to cut them. So I'm going to cut them from the bottom to that middle line. We're just cutting those 2 lines there. And now we have our 3 flaps at either end. And now we're going to mark the centre of this piece in the middle. So obviously it's 6, so it's going to be a 3 there. And then we need a line from the corner of that square to the middle of here. And the other way as well. And there we've got 2 triangles on both those centre squares. Next we need to cut down these lines here and also up this line here. So basically what you should have now is something that looks like this. Next you need to fold along these lines, which is why I suggested the embossing tool and the bone fold. A metal ruler might be a good idea because then it gives you something to bend the edge of the paper over. So I'm just going to take my small ball tool, embossing tool, and go down that line just a couple of times. So you can, like I said, fold that up against the ruler if you want, if you don't have one of these tools. Or you can fold it over and just crease it gently with the bone folder. All done, it's all creased and cut. And the next bit is really simple. You take this bottom edge and you glue those 2 bits together. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that I am using a different piece of cardstock, and that is because when I was gluing the other one together I had a nasty accident with the glue, and it's one of those instances where you squeeze a bit and it's not coming, so squeeze a little bit harder and then all of a sudden massive blob right where you don't need it. So anyway, I've cut it and marked it and everything all the same. Unfortunately I only had one piece of that previous cardstock, so hence the reason I'm using a different pattern. Next you want to just gently curl these pieces. Now obviously be careful of paper cuts. Again, speaking from experience. So just tease those just a bit so they're slightly rounded or curved, just the outside too, you don't need to worry about these two inside really. Right, so it should look something like that, and then we are going to, so you want the triangle pointing towards you and you want to take these inside two and glue them together at the point. So I'm just going to put a bit of wet glue, a small amount of wet glue, on this one here. In fact, I think the glue again has sealed itself up. There we go. Hopefully that will help. There we go. And what you need to do is make sure that those 2 corners, it's hard to do it in the air, but that they come together at each other's corner, if that makes sense. So they directly overlap each other at the corner. So I'm just holding those so the glue will grab. And then we're going to take this one And again, you want to make sure that that corner comes on in line with that one, and you'll see that this is slightly curved. So I find it easier to put the glue on this bit and then line it up and wait till it grabs. Whoops. Hold it a bit longer. And then again the same for this one here. It's trying to catch me out again. And again, line it up for the corner. And then we're going to do the same with this one. And the top one. I'm just going to put it down because it is easy to do, and I will show you when I've done it. It should look like that. You'll see that these are slightly curved. And then we're going to fold this triangle up to keep all those bits hidden. I think actually I'm going to put the glue on here and then fold the triangle up and just hold that in place for a bit. Now you can either snip that little bit off or you can tuck it over. You also probably want to be mindful of the pattern you're using, because I'm not sure whether certain patterns might become upside down, possibly. Yeah. Anyway, that's one to experiment with probably. And there we have our basket. And the next stage is to hide this bit here. You could leave it like that if you wanted, but I think it'd be nice to have a contrasting piece. I think a 4x4 piece should do it. And then just score it corner to corner. Fold it up against the ruler and fold over, and then you have this to hide your point. Those bits are done, so we've got those on both sides, and I'm going to use the same paper from the offcuts, and I think I'll have that about 2 centimeters wide. Oh, maybe that's a bit, no, that should be fine, so we'll go for 2. And I'm going to use my trimmer for that because it's much easier. So I've got this for my handle. Just going to shape it again a bit, and I'm going to stick it on the inside of those two triangles. I think it might be a little bit long. You could in fact do it that way, so it would give you a completely different shape, but I'm going to stick with doing it to those sides there. And the ever dreaded wet glue. And I find it's easier to lay the basket on its side and then hold the handle in place. It is glued into place, and that is finished. I hope you think it's as easy as I said it was, and I don't think it's too time consuming once you get used to what you're actually doing. It's fairly easy measurements and scoring, and as long as you remember to meet these bits up at the corner, you won't then end up with something that's up here, and then obviously your triangle will never fit. You'd have to snip a bit off. So I would like to know what you think and whether you have given it a try. I'd like to see your makes, so hopefully some of you might post those on YouTube. I would love you to give a like to this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you do make the basket and share it on your channel, it would be great if you could give me a mention so maybe people could pop over to my channel. The only thing left for me to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio!